Today we're going to talk about the Creator Summit. Yes, we are. That happened yesterday. And it was 9 hours long. That was a long time. But overall, I think some good stuff happened. And we're going to get to the tech stuff in a minute. But since people woke up and had opinions that weren't there or just have continued on, kind of attacking my friends and things like that. Uh, yeah, we're gonna get into this. So first of all, I was invited to the. I'll get this through. I was invited to the Creator Summit. I didn't know until like last week Thursday because the invite went to a spam folder thing that I don't know why it went there. So it was very last minute, and I was gone for C2E2 over the weekend. So while C2E2 was going on, hey, Jordan, welcome on in. So while C2E2 was going on, I was filling out all the forms and everything so I could be part of the day. I still don't understand why I was invited. It's like a mystery to me. But I kind of mentioned this in one of my friends' chat. Lurking and having some food and self-caring. No one come for me. Excellent. Thank you for the lurk. I appreciate it. Glad you're self-caring. I make a fuss. And since I can post links in my own chat, y'all should be supporting D&D Jordan Lee. You really should. Hold on. There we go. Go there. Hey Rex, welcome on in. Thank you as well for the lurk. You have a kindness button, Jordan. It's on my stream deck. It will not be removed. So, and yeah, hi Rex, glad you're here. Glad for the lurk. So I don't quite understand why I was invited, but I was. To the, I shall remember this plot. I don't understand quite why I was invited to the summit. I was talking to my friend, if you know Balra VT at all. Uh, they're a VTuber, excellent person, great artist. They were one of the first people to play in a game that I ran just for friends and everything. And when I was being a moderator for various things, and they helped me out a lot. And they had disappeared from the space for a while, but have come back. Uh, and if you haven't checked them out, please do. It's BALRAVT here on Twitch, and they drew their own VTuber thing, and it's fantastic. Their own VTuber model, I think, is the right term. I'm not sure. Anyway, they mentioned that I don't understand my importance in the community, and I'm like, yeah, probably. I just, I like I said, I don't get it, but I was glad to be there, and a lot of that is the way I view myself and the problems I have viewing myself in positive lights and things like that too. So there's a bit of that. I'll admit that. But regardless, I was there. Other brilliant people were there. If you want accurate Twitter summations from people that I know, now there are some people I don't know that were there that looks like have done a good job. I just don't know much about them personally. but I'm going to recommend you check out the tweets around this from Jordan, D&D Jordan Lee, Jen Ketchmer, Cipher of Tyr, Critical Bard, Josh Simons, and KP. Those are people that have been around a while. I at least know of. I've seen their opinions. I trust them. So if you're looking for something about the summit, and you're looking for, oh, and you'll vouch for Daniel. Yes, I was about to bring up Daniel Kwan. They have a very large article. I haven't had a chance to read through it yet, but it has been making the rounds, and it's gotten positive response. So check those out. And Daniel and I were in the smaller groups together and swapping notes. Excellent. Love that. Yeah, I was seeing some of the chatter. I'm not familiar with Daniel enough, other than being a follower on Twitter. So I just wanted to recommend people I had knowledge of. And then there are, I'm sure, lots of people outside that have posted great content. But I wanted to bring up those. So if you see Josh or Jen or Jordan recommending something, also read that. But there's 7 people or so to take a look at that I know have given honest feedback about what happened during the summit. And if other things you see don't align with one of those 7 or so opinions, I would definitely question it. Oh, and if I didn't mention Cipher of Tyr, check out Cipher's stuff too. So yeah, look at those opinions, and if there's people not aligning with those opinions, you might want to start questioning those notes and things. I think that's a good selection of people that are trusted and known. So if you want like deeper dives into what went on and things like that, we're going to be looking at some of the tech stuff as well here concerning the VTT that we can talk about because I do tech. So that's going to be kind of the main focus in a bit, but I did want to cover. I've seen some bad takes. I've seen takes from people that weren't there. I've seen misinformation. These are people who have not done misinformation. These are people whose opinions I trust and from my experience have been accurate in what they are saying. So please check out those people. And again, I gave you a variety of people. And if stuff isn't aligning up with what those people are saying, I think you'd really need to question that other person. So yeah, takeaway number 1 is having good sources and steering away from misinformation. And some people, no matter what, are just angry at Wizards of the Coast. And you saw that in some of the questions being asked. There was a lot of important questions brought up. But sometimes there were just attacks in those questions. And there was stuff on both sides that, I wasn't exactly happy with, but overall, I think the community did a good job of getting people heard. And again, you've seen these names go around Twitter, and again, I am a moderator on the official D&D Discord, so disclosing that, but that's not why I was at the summit. So thanks to Latia Jaquise, Sarah Chaffee, and oh boy, I just lost their name. Dixon. As you know, Dixon is yes, Latia and John Tell. Yes, I was trying to think of John Tell. Yes, so Latia, Sarah, Dixon, John Tell all work directly for Wizards of the Coast. They were brilliant at answering all the concerns and all the questions. And I bring this up because there are people working to make things better, and it's going to take time. And there was points where it felt like some things weren't listened to, but these people always seem to be listening. And, I have some faith that going forward, there's going to be work being done, right? And because big company, it takes a couple years for books to be made. So, before we see all the results, it's going to take a while. It's going to take time because the material they make takes time to make. It's not going to be right away. It's understood it's ongoing conversation, and hopefully this is a first conversation, and that these things continue on to go, so we can add more input. Vancouver by Night, hello. Especially a monolithic company like D&D and Wizards changes glacial pace, but it does happen. Exactly. Change is not easy because there are a lot of moving parts, but after the summit, there was a lot of big emotions, and reading and hearing all the questions, it was quite a drain for us all. And one comment that was brought up about providing mental health resources, and does that team of people, Latia and Dixon and Jontel, do they have mental health resources available to them? Because they take a brunt of it. And Wizards opened up and said, if you're getting flack, tell us, let us know something's happening, and they will do what they can. And that was a bit of a change from what we've normally heard, which wasn't much, but they mentioned it. And so I think there's good things for going forward. Now, if you don't trust Kyle Brink, you don't trust Wizards of the Coast anymore, there's nothing I can do about that. That's all you. I understand, but I'm not here to restore your faith. I'm just here to tell my experiences with it, right? I think they're doing a good job. The OGL moving into Creative Commons was obviously a brilliant move. I think Jordan said something similar earlier, that I'm sad about how we got to places like during the OGL and yesterday during the summit, but I'm glad we got to the places we did. Because that was great. And by the way, Jordan Lee did an excellent breakdown about this earlier on their stream. Go check it out. Go check the VOD. Do the thing. All right. And I wasn't going to talk about any of this, but when I woke up and saw some misinformation and people being attacked, I'm like, nope, I'm talking about the stuff. So yeah, I still enjoy D&D as a game. I probably always will, no matter what the larger company does. And I like a lot of games, right? I like a lot of not White Wolf, World of Darkness stuff. I'm so used to calling it White Wolf because I called it White Wolf for over a decade. But the World of Darkness things, especially Werewolf, I really enjoy Werewolf. And there's other games I really enjoy playing, but D&D is always kind of right up there for me. And I just think it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's been White Wolf for 25 years. Yeah. It's like, when I was, I LARPed for a decade in a vampire LARP, and yeah, it was all White Wolf material then. So yeah. Let's see. Where was I going with all this? I don't know anymore. I distracted myself. That's okay. Yeah. So when uh, my friends are attacked and misinformation comes up, I I get upset. Uh, so and I think I need to say something. So I am. And there you go. I've said stuff about it. There are now I'm transitioning over to some more of the tech stuff, but we can still talk about the opinions. I know yesterday I said I was just going to do tech, but I think if there's more opinions on this and things like that, I'd be open to having them in chat. But I'm going to start talking about the VTT now. Oh, no, correction. Before I do that, some of you have seen in tweets that Wizard used Teams to broadcast this event, and Teams is not a good experience. It might be good for just conferences or for team chats. Zero, hello, welcome on in. It Teams might be good for small group meetings and things like that, but the pain of entry to the teams and the way the production work, like, caught me at a great bad time waiting on stuff to dry. Oh boy. Don't you have a shirt that says wait for stuff to dry? It's one of the tenants, right? Uh, so I do. This is the way. Excellent. You can post a link to that if you want, and I have you as a moderator. So, speaking of crappy corporations, Microsoft Teams. Yeah, like Teams is. It might be good at what it does, but I haven't had real positive experiences with it, and there's just some production stuff I wouldn't use it for. Now, don't get me wrong, putting on this event and getting tech going, especially getting tech going through Teams, is hard. So, congratulations to the tech team behind that too, because they did a lot of work to make that work. And even when it didn't sort of work, it was more a limitation of how Teams activated. At least that was my understanding then. Anything else? Teams is useful if you don't have admin access and can't download anything else on the computer. Makes sense. But yeah, some people had to go into their iPads and have it on their computer just to see everything. The browser experience wasn't going well, so I downloaded the app. Uh, and so I was able to watch everything on using the app on my PC. So yeah, I was grateful, but it took a while for that to all line up, and I think that the tech team worked hard using a tool that I don't know the decision behind it, but hopefully next time they have different tools to use, because it was hard for people to get in and kind of know what was going on. And eventually, I think most of us, if not all of us, got there. But again, that took time, and we just kind of want to click a link and be able to see and have everything happen, right? We don't want to do all this stuff on our back end. And again, tech is hard, so I want to acknowledge the tech team that got a signal to us, because they they were working with a difficult program to do what they did. Why that was? Okay, last one. When all you have is Microsoft Teams, every problem starts to look like a nail. Got it. Understood. Yeah, I've tried Teams before. I'm just like, and then then so this morning I woke up. I'm like, oh, this is how I would have done things. And like it doesn't matter how I would have done things because they did things the way they did things, and it's done, right? But I'm like, no, I think I would have tried this, and it probably would have worked out better. But again, I don't know. I wasn't doing a thing at the scale they were doing either. So I'm just theory crafting at that point. Oh, look, it's the Paladin. Oh, that's right. I've heard you've gained a new class. You're multi-classing now, Zero. I didn't choose the multi-class life. The multi-class life chose me. Well, thank you for your level up and investing your level up into a new class. We all appreciate it. So the D&D VTT. Let's get into this. I require no thanks. I call them as I see them. Hey, look, my grandpa told me that when you're grateful to people or they do something for you, you say thanks. So you're getting a thank you. You disagree with my grandpa, we're going to have words. Here's a thanks, support DC. Hey, wait. My plotting has worked. Thank you for putting in my coffee, Ko-Fi. I forget now how they said to say it. I heard it on a stream last week, but my brain is largely mush. Uh, okay, D&D VNT for real this time. Still a lot of experimentation going on with what works. They're trying to make an intuitive player user interface where if the example brought up was if a player asks if there's a window in this bar, you can easily put a window in the bar, right? And so they're doing a lot of experimenting right now with what works and what doesn't. So it's still very early days. They're still looking at a couple years to get this done. They want to give the DM game controls. Yes, they do want to increase player testing on it. And as I said earlier, one of their design goals is to add things on the fly and let the players just think of things and just be able to add them in without having to go back to a map layer and then redesigning it and then reapplying the layer and everything. It's being able to add things quickly. And obviously they, as with all their things, or even the big heavy stuff, and they're trying to create community feedback loops and doing better at that. With the VTT, they're also developing a community feedback loop for that, so they will get into that. About supporting third parties first, they're going to make the VTT for D&D, right? Like, yeah. But they weren't sure about the future of that yet. They did mention that it will be on video game consoles. The person presenting said they played the current build on their phone. The build that was at the convention that people got to play is already not the current build. So they're like, that's just the way testing works. Still early to call on it. I honestly wasn't expecting much in the way of new info on the VTT. Yeah. They're still looking at the current plan is standalone app and possibly have a web browser interface. And again, they're working on a simplified control stream. It was brought up, and one of the questions I asked in a small breakout group was about streaming with it, and what load is it going to be on the system when I have OBS up and a Zoom call up, and whatever I need for captions, and the the 4 programs you need to stream, plus getting in everyone's video and sending out everyone's video. So that's at least 5 to 8 video signals in Zoom that come through Zoom that you're putting out onto the internet, and then having this VTT up and wanting to use that to stream. What kind of load is it on there? And they said that they were glad someone brought up the point. This was later in the public thing that someone also brought this up, and they mentioned that they have to test streaming tech with OBS and things like that. So that got on their radar. Yay. Which is great. I will be personally following up with that and going, hey, so this thing. And believe me, I want to be one of the people that gets to test this. So I will try streaming with it if I can, if I'm allowed to at some point. Because I think what we've seen looks neat, and it's a tool people are going to want to use. There will be D&D Beyond integration with it. My understanding is that with one of the early builds done, it was fairly easy for someone internally to import their character data to it. So that's that. Other third-party things coming into it are just not known yet. Like they're not even done with it to the system they're making it for. So that's all going to take time. Again, they're looking, maybe another couple of years of playtesting with some wider playtesting next year. And like I mentioned earlier, change and content take time to happen. So these are the things going on with the VTT. I'm looking forward to it. I really want it to work for people. I know how I want it to work for people. Can we ask questions? Yes, I will do my best to answer whatever questions you have about the summit. While I'd appreciate leaning in on the tech side, it can be anything about the summit you would like. Overall, what was your takeaway from the summit? That there's obviously work to be done. No one's going to disagree with that. Even Wizards doesn't disagree with that. That there are good people at Wizards who are listening, who are directing change. At the beginning of the video, we mentioned them: Janelle, Sarah Chaffee, Latia Jaquise Dixon. They were all stepping up, answering the hard stuff. And they were really great at it. And so it looks like while Wizards doesn't have all the answers currently, they are listening, or if you want to say starting to listen, sure, fine. But they are conscious more. They are opening up more ways of directing traffic and getting concerns of content creators to the right places. And they're still developing those systems. And they've done a start, and they need to keep going. I think, more time spent on the hard questions would have been better. Putting all the playtest stuff and the VTT stuff might have been good for the beginning of the day, and then the rest of the time, just all these questions. But they did give us over, I think it wound up being an hour, or more than an hour at the end of the hard questions, which was great. And then people that were there had a dinner afterwards where they were like, "We're still here. Approach us," and it'll be up to those people if they share anything that happened during that dinner. But they have, at least right now, the start of a road for content creators to go and report some things, and they're still working on it. They acknowledge that. They acknowledge what they were doing for diversity and more inclusion. So they are working on it, and they seem to be making small positive steps. And you weren't here for the beginning, Zero, but you know the, uh, this stuff takes time, and because a book is a couple year process, there are some results of this we're not going to see right away, at least in the printed material. But hopefully, over the next few months and into next year, the creator relationships get better. And when we have a problem, there are ways to talk to Wizards about it. And so that was excellent. So yes, and as a person who is optimistic about things except for themselves, uh, don't at me. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to all this stuff. Follow up. What was the one thing learned there that you are excited for? Oh, what they're doing with 1D&D. Like the new playtest material is coming out fairly soon. It's going to be a large one. That's with an O, large. Uh, and look at that. But when they do the new, the new player's handbook and DM dungeon master guide, there's going to be a full glossary. There is going to be a lore section for people who don't know the lore to things, and you can look up little facts about these things. And there's going to be a whole lore section in the books that you can just go to. That's rad, yeah. And what was the ooze thing? Oh yeah, gelatinous ooze will be under G. Um, yeah, so they mentioned how they're going to the book is going to be teaching you the game first and then creating character. And so I'm kind of and everything because this is still kind of fifth edition. This is just like a revised fifth. Uh, I don't remember the official name that they proposed at the time, and that could change. But it's not a 5.5. It's not a 6. They were very clear on that. But everything will be backwards compatible with the 2014 edition of the rule set. So all of your books that you've bought already for 5th edition still work. They'll have recommendations of some things that you can do to make one thing more compatible with the other. Maybe there's a little power adjustment here or there, but they will give you some sort of roadmap to follow for that, and it shouldn't take too long to figure that stuff out. So all your books, all the adventures still work. You can bring a character from one version of the rule set to this next one and back again. So they were very clear on that, and that's the stuff I'm excited for. I'm really excited that there's going to be a lore section and a glossary, and they're going. I believe they were going to talk about session 02 as well in the books, like they have in some of their more recent books, uh, and safety tools and things like that. I believe they said that. I'm not sure right now, but yeah, that's cool stuff. Look, if you make book organization easier for me in a role playing book, you get a lot of bonus points. Um, because I've read a lot of TTRPG books in the past for games that weren't D&D, and they were just confusing. Like looking up a rule, and you look in the index, and then you flip to the page only to find it's not on that page. Yeah, it's like why? Could someone check this please before you publish? Maybe, please. I just want you to have accurate indexes so I can look up things I need because I don't understand the thing that's happening in the game right now. That's why I like D&D Beyond. There's a search box, you know. Uh, hard same, include my lore, double bonus. Yeah. So yeah, any other questions? I will gladly take them. I'm excited for the VTT. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I'm hoping that it works. I heard they are considering 2 summits a year going forward, or something similar. Don't know. Not sure. They at one point was mentioned that this was a first step, and people are hoping it's a first step, but they didn't necessarily commit to that. But they are looking into uh, more things like that. So whether that's 2 summits a year or anything like that, I'm not sure. But there was some acknowledgement that they needed more things like this to go forward. And as rough as this first one was, it was also a first step, and I think we all learned a lot during it. It was rough learning, but can I now refer to you as DC Hadamancer and Inside Man? Yes. Send me my clout coins. Good, because I am anyway. I'll have to fit that into my Twitter bio now. And I don't think you were here for this, Zero, but as I said at the start of the stream, I'm not even sure why I was invited. I'm still amazed that I got the invite. And like, I'm like, what, me? Really? Okay. I want to do this thing. That's really all the cues I got. I can tell you why you were invited, so stop that. No, like I honestly, I don't have a good perception of myself. Um, so, so there's that. I hear you, but you were invited for a reason. Own that. Make peace with it. You're good folk. Thank you. Thank you. I was excited to attend, and that in the invite they said, okay, we're going to go over the VTT and 1D&D and give you time to talk to people as well. And I think we were, so while we knew what the we knew that was going to be part of it, but our talk time with people just wasn't as well defined, and I think that was part of the frustration. And at the beginning of it, we did have a chance to be in smaller rooms, which was good for me and me asking questions, because we had people in there that were employees that we could talk to directly, and I like that. I would have liked to have more of the sort of breakout rooms between things because I'm a little more comfortable in a space like that. And when they can see me and I can see them type thing. But the bigger conversation that happened because people asked for it and rightly so was also very good, and a lot of tough questions were asked. Some questions were uh there was a couple where it seemed like they weren't necessarily in good faith, but there was also some, as you may have seen in Critical Bard's tweet, there was the sentiment of some being talked down to type things from a during in one of the presentations, and they brought that up directly. So again, if you want info on this and things I not considering misinformation or anything like that, look at D&D Jordan Lee. Go to their uh, Twitch. Look at the VOD for earlier today. Check out Josh Simons, Cipher of Tyr, Critical Bard, KP. Yes, ko-fi.com/D&D Jordan Lee, LEA. Josh did good, and Daniel Kwan. I don't know Daniel Kwan, but please check out their thing because it's getting recommended. I haven't been able to check out their long thoughts from a D&D Creator Summit virtual attendee. Lots of folks really stepped up and made me hopeful. Yeah. Cipher of Tyr. Let's see. I don't remember if I've covered everyone. Dr. Emily. Dr. Emily Friedman, another source. Jen Ketchmer. So look at these people's accounts. They're the accounts I trust. And most other things is just going to be misinformation. If you see things that aren't kind of lining up with what these 7-8 people are saying, there might be something to that. So please, and just come to me if you want to talk about the tech stuff. So that's all I ask. But I'm going to let all their tweets speak for all the hard stuff that went on and everything, because I think they're brilliant, and there's no reason for me to repeat a lot of that work that they did. You can check it out for yourself. And please, if you're not following Latia Jaquise, Sarah Chaffee, Dixon, and Gentel, please check them out. Give them a follow. They did brilliant work on behalf of Wizards yesterday, and it felt like there was some listening going on, which was fantastic. So yeah, so look at those folks I mentioned. Again, there are other folks out there who have accurate accounts and everything, but these are just people I know and have been reading for a while and go, oh, KP. I don't know KP, but I've been reading KP's tweets for a while, and they've been really good at what went on there as well. So please check them out. And like I said, if something doesn't align with what now that's what 9 people, if something isn't aligning with what those people are saying, or there's an argument going on, I would seriously take a look at that. Because there is misinformation already this morning. There's even misinformation from people who were there. There was some. Anything you need from our end? You good? Let me think about that a minute. Uh, I mean, just support the stuff I do, like, subscribe, all that. Um, personally, about can do. Thank you. Uh, personally, there's a way I feel about myself and things that I don't want to get into right now. So if you want to have that conversation, that's a different conversation to have. But subscribe. Thank you. Thank you, Zero. Thank you for adding to my subs. I appreciate it. But as far as what happened at the Creator Summit, I'm cautiously optimistic, I suppose, is a good general term for that. I recognize there's a lot of things that need to happen yet. And like I said earlier, at this point, if you don't trust Wizards, if you don't believe in what Kyle Brink has said in 5 different interviews, I'm not here to fix that for you. You know, you do you. I don't know what you need to forgive Wizards or Kyle or anyone like there. I have no concept of that. So, but I can tell you that while it will take a while to see these things in action, it does appear Wizards is putting forth the first baby steps into this. And there is acknowledgement on both sides that there is a lot of work to be done. And that's just good to hear that there's work to be done and that they are indeed working on that work. And that they gave us a couple of things, you know, to do. We gave them a couple of things to think about. Well, more than a couple of things to think about, and it was great. And I really liked the VTT stuff they talked about and the 1D&D stuff as well. And important conversations happened. I wish it was run a little differently, but I can't go back in time. I'm not a time traveler. Uh, and I had nothing to do with how it was run. So so there, take that. And thank you for putting in the work all the same, though. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Also, I'm looking at Twitter. Kelly the Opera Geek's experiences are available to read, and Goblin Katie is going to do an in-depth analysis later. So please check out their Twitter as well. Those will be good resources. Those will be good resources to look at. Again, people I have some knowledge of, have met, trust, all in there. So yeah, I don't want you just to believe me. That's why I gave you a list of names to check out. And yeah, and hopefully, there's going to be a little variance, but stuff that's complaining about something else that they're not mentioning and all that, nah. Just pay attention to what they're talking, what those folks are talking about. They're doing the important stuff, talking about that. We really appreciate you talking about your experience with this and pointing out the people covering this. Oh, thank you, yeah. And it was very emotional. One comment got me in tears uh, because it was around mental health, and as I've stated before, this channel during the charity streams will always find a place that supports mental health. Uh, Currently doing a lot for Take This, not in any official capacity. It's just that they're my charity of choice. But I'm always going to on this channel. I'll do charities for other things. Don't get me wrong, but on this channel, it's most likely always going to be surrounding charity for mental health causes. And so when that was brought up, yeah, I had a moment, and there was a lot of people sharing a lot of hard feelings and a lot of listening, and you know the 4 or 5 people I mentioned from Wizards that were taking on these things. It's tough taking all that too, right? It's there's two sides here, right? I hope that their mental health is also good, and that Wizards as a corporation is supporting them and looking out for them, and hopefully there will be more stuff for independent creators and to come to them with things and make things better. And again, we're not going to see that tomorrow, because corporation big takes time to make all the things move. So yeah, I will take any questions now on anything else if I can answer it. If I can't answer it, that's fine. There were some, I don't knows, and we haven't made that part of this thing yet, so we're not sure. So there is a bit of that, because they can't tell you about the thing that isn't done, right? You can't turn the Queen Mary around in a bathtub. That's what my mentors used to say, right? When are you finally going to cease your campaign of terror with these kindness buttons? Never. Kindness happens. Kindness happens. Kindness happens. Kindness happens. Kindness happens. Kindness happens. 0, I have your command set so they only work in your channel. I need to fix that. Because they call on the commands in your channel. So let's redo something. You can try things out in other people's channels and commands, and activate those. And then you can get stuff like this. And just go there and support your local artificer. I'm Outlaw. Have a great one. Thanks.